Good morning and welcome back to Mark's Garden UK at Rose Cottage near Nantwich in Cheshire. Colocasia Esculenta to be precise, also known as Taro or elephant's ears plant, and you can see why it's called elephant's ears, because these leaves are not even at their full size yet. They can get to this big and resemble elephant's ears. I've named this my Colocasia farm because it's my intention to sell all of these plants, and incidentally, if you're interested in a Colocasia, let me know in the comments box below this video and I'll come to an arrangement where I can send one to you. Now, if you've been following my channel, you'll know that I've embarked on a bit of a project. Can I make an income from my garden? And you can see a video on that in a playlist on my channel. And I've set myself the target of creating 10 small projects, each of which will make £300 in the next 12 months. And selling these Colocasias is just one of those projects. And this is going to be a slightly interesting video because before I start selling these to you, the general public, I want to test the system. So I'm going to dig 2 of these up. I've fashioned some crude cardboard boxes out of an old shower box. I'm going to package them. I'm going to post them to myself. When they come back, I'm going to plant them up and see if I can get some growth out of them before the end of the year. This is Fergus, my neighbour's dog, who I'm looking after for the day. So in this video, you're going to see me dig 2 of these up, package them in these homemade cardboard boxes, send them off in the post, receive them back, plant them up, and then it's now August, hopefully before the end of the summer. Actually, we're in the autumn already, but before the end of the year, we'll see some new growth, which will mean that they've actually made some new roots. So that will prove that these can be posted out and survive. It is late in the year and you probably should do this slightly early in the year, so I'm taking a few chances and a few risks, but they're my plants and they're coming back to me, so I can take that risk. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find 2 to dig up which have got new leaves emerging, because these produce leaves from the stem of the most recent leaf, as you can see here. Now we're being joined by Simba, who's my dog, who's not particularly happy about me having Fergus so close. So this one here is a classic example. You can see a leaf coming out, a new leaf coming out of the old leaf here. So I'll find one with a new leaf emerging, and that's the only leaf I'll leave on the comb, post it out, get it back, plant it up and see what happens. So let's get digging. So I'm now going to find 2 good examples to post out to myself. Not too large an example and not too small one, a medium-sized one or 2 medium-sized ones. And in fact, there's one here which is a good candidate, and there's one here which is right next to it. So I'm going to get the fork underneath that one and gently tease it out from the earth. And then we'll have a look at the corm or the rhizome and see what's going on underground. So gently, gently, gently. And up it comes. I felt a few roots snap there, so there's definitely some good roots underneath this plant. So there's our first candidate in my Colocasia experiment. Just have a quick look at this. Now then, some lovely roots there. I'll gently shake the soil off. I want to preserve as many roots as possible. What's interesting about this one is there's actually a new one coming out from the side there already. So if I were to sell this, someone would be getting very good value. My intention is to remove all the leaves except for that new leaf which is emerging. Of course, I'll be leaving that on as well, and that is the bit which will be packaged and sold or posted. Here's another one here which is medium size. Let's get this one out too. I'm being very gentle as I kind of tease and lift, because I want to preserve as many roots as possible. I'm also aware that there are some small ones, baby ones, quite close by, so I'll repot them. And these have reminded me of the fact that actually I posted one about this size to a chap in Scotland, a friend of mine called Colin, and that was another part of this experiment to see how well they did. That was early in the year. There's a video about it on my channel. I'll put a link at the end of this one. That one has done incredibly well in Colin's capable hands. I will put some before and after pictures just here now, because Colin has sent me some pictures of how it's done, so you'll see how well these do when you do post them out. But these are slightly bigger than the one I originally sent, so this is an experiment in posting slightly bigger ones. So this one, I'm being very gentle and gingerly, just gently lifting. And this feels like quite a large plant here, so we shall just see what happens when this one releases itself from the earth and it comes away. Thus, quite a big root system on that. Quite a lot of leaves. So the most recent leaf is the one I'll leave on the plant. Quite a lot of roots there going down into the earth. Now I've seen these roots sprout leaves off, so I might just sort of snap those off and leave them in the ground. These are our two plants for postage. Whilst I'm here, let's just tend to these babies which I've unceremoniously disrupted whilst I've been here. Here they are, there's three, look. Let's get those back into the earth. Bury those roots, they may grow. One, two, three. This is very rich compost, by the way, that I've enriched with lots of well-rotted manure. You can see that in the original video. All these plants, which are now quite large, started off very small, and again you can see that in the original video. I'll possibly post some footage here now whilst I'm talking to you. Let's get these prepared and in the post. So I'm going to wrap them first in a bit of old compost bag. Let's remove some of these leaves, which will be transpiring water as we speak. Interestingly, on this root here, I'll bring it a bit closer, there's another little pink stubby thing emerging here. I think that will become another plant. These propagate quite readily under the right circumstances, so whoever bought this would probably end up getting 1, 2 and possibly even 3 plants out of it in a very short space of time. It does feel a shame wasting all this vegetation, and this is an experiment. I am taking a risk with these plants, especially at this late stage in the year. But there it is. A corm. These corms get quite big, actually, about the size of a sweet potato, and they're actually called taro. You can eat them, you can peel them, boil them and bake them like sweet potato, but I shan't be doing that with any of mine, because if I can sell these for cash money, then obviously I don't want to be eating them. Right, there's number 1, and that has to fit in this homemade box, so I might have to do a little bit more judicious pruning on it. Come back to that one in a moment. I'm going to post these second class, and you will see in a moment them arriving back and me getting them into another pot, and we'll see how we get on back before the end of the year. I'm going to put a little bit of compost around that just to stop it from completely drying out, but not too wet because I don't want it to be rotting. So let's wrap it like a Christmas present gently, and let's just check that that will indeed fit in the box I've prepared for it. My dad used to be a butcher, and I can remember him wrapping meat like this many years ago, so let's have a look now. There's one wrapped up now. Might see a little bit crude that, but plants I know are very resilient, so I'm going to put some tape around it, and then we shall get that in the second class post today. And I shall do the same thing with the other one. And any moment now, coming up in this very video, you will see the results of them arriving back and getting planted out. Hello, welcome back to part 2. They've both arrived safely back with me. I last spoke to you on Friday, it's now Monday, so it's taken a whole weekend for those to go out somewhere and come back. It cost £4.05. I did send them first class in the end, because when I got to the post office I was warned of a postal strike, and I was told that if I sent them second class they could be out there for up to 10 days, and I didn't want that, so I did pay a little bit of extra for the first class postage. Anyway, they've both safely arrived back with me. I'm not going to repeat myself, you know what I'm doing in this video. So I'm going to get these out of here and I'm going to get them planted up. I'm going to plant them into plastic pots, because plastic pots are more water retentive. I'm not going to plant them back into the ground because we're coming to the end of the year. I'll be digging them up again very shortly. In fact, all of these will be dug up for the autumn for winter protection, and I'll show you that in another video in the near future. But for now, let's get these unboxed and see how they've survived, how they've fared in the first class Royal Mail, possibly going off to Birmingham or Sheffield or somewhere like that, and then back home to me. So this is the first of the two. They're going to go into fresh compost, which is here in this jug, and I've wrapped them up quite securely, so I might try and save the boxes so that I can reuse them. Here's the box. I'll very gently take the plant out, which, as you'll recall, I wrapped in some old compost bag. Now then, I very carefully get this out of here because I don't want to do any damage at this late stage. When I get them into compost, you'll see what I'm going to do, but I'm going to plunge them in water and I'm going to get them rehydrated as quickly as possible, and then hopefully, with a bit of luck, because we are in September, we've probably still got a couple of months maximum of growing temperature for this particular type of plant. So I'm hoping that towards the end of September we should see this starting to sprout into growth again. Now let's have a look. I did have to bend it over, you'll probably recall that from the first half of this video. It feels a little bit like Blue Peter. And for those of you that are not in the UK, Blue Peter is a children's television programme. Well, there we are. Rather sorry looking Colocasia, which I posted out to me. It's looking a little bit wilted, which is not surprising because it's been out of the ground. So let's get some compost in it. Let's get it plunged. And then I'm going to put it somewhere where it's not exposed to too much wind, because I don't want it rocking about in the wind. I want it to establish some new roots before the end of the year. Now there's drainage holes in the bottom of there, and I'm going to put the compost directly into that. I'm going to bury it to the same level as it was buried before, and then I'm going to give it a really good soaking, and hopefully after only 4 days out of the ground in a darkened bag, it should spring back into life. There's one done. Let's get that into that water. And now for the second. Quite excited about this, because if this turns out to work, I could be onto a little money spinner here, because if I can encourage 3 or 4 of these plants to multiply 5-fold every year, then my little project, can I make an income from my garden, will be truly bolstered by Colocasia Esculenta. Of course, you already know that I'm trying to propagate Colocasia pink china, and if you're interested in either Colocasia Esculenta or Colocasia pink china, let me know and we'll come to some arrangement whereby I can get one to you in the post for the appropriate fee. Of course, it will be great value. So here's the second plant coming out of its safe storage. Let's carefully get into the bag and see what's inside. To be fair, these don't look any different to the day they were posted, which is quite encouraging really. And if I was doing this commercially with you, the general public, I would definitely be sending these recorded delivery next day. because I wouldn't want to risk them sitting in the post for too long. This is that one that already had an extra growth on the side there and a little pink shoot coming out, so this could well form 3 plants. Let's get it potted up. Get those roots into there nice and neatly. Now that was just under the soil surface, that green shoot, so I'm going to plant it just about there. That one was under the surface. That's continued to grow a little whilst it's been in that package, because that didn't have a little white spot on the end of it before. So in it goes with some compost around it. I am rushing this a little bit because the clouds have just gathered above my head and the sky has gone really quite dark and foreboding, so I want to get this planted up and back inside the house before much longer. Right. I'm just going to gently tease it up to the surface because I don't want to plant it too deep and cause it to rot. Gently firm it down. A bit more compost on top there, and then I'll get that into the soak. So there we go. 2 Colocasia Esculentas in fresh pots, which have been on a bit of a journey. Who knows where around the country in the Royal Mail. I'm going to let them sit in this water now for a good hour whilst they rehydrate, and then I'm going to pull them out. I told you that the weather was turning, and that's just illustrated the point. I'm going to put them around the back of this wall in the pig pen where it's sheltered, and I will keep an eye on them, and the minute there's any news, whether I see any growth or new shoots appearing in the soil around the bottom or roots coming from beneath the pot, I'll let you know. And in any event, I will put an update at the appropriate time with this video at a link which will be just here above my left shoulder. Hope you've enjoyed that. Hope you found it interesting. I have. I'm quite excited about the prospects. Do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and of course comment below, because it's always nice to hear from you. What's your experience of propagating Colocasia Esculenta? And if you want one, let me know, because there's about 26 in here and there's 2 there. I'll probably be selling these in the springtime, and I'll see you soon.